Giant robots.
While he's working on his character still, let's get the rest of the group caught up to where we left off last time.
Especially me.
Thought you guys would have
Because I
started
was
without
just
me.
wandering around like a robot. Apparently.
No, we gotta wait on this fucking...
We had an additional person loitering, and I wanted him to feel left out.
I want him to feel left.
I did get free housework and ice cream out of them, so...
See?
Hell yeah.
Everything worked out.
So we are.
I didn't get the ice.
Mundi, when you were last with the group, you had a ride to Iapo. Some went to the blacksmith, but eventually you all had some fun times at the gambling hall before eventually leaving the town.
It wasn't fun.
It was
very
fun.
I was devastated by that gambling
I was
hall.
having fun.
It was fun for a while,
Yeah.
and then everything
It was
went
fun when
bad.
I was winning, but like the percentage of me winning was like 2%, and the rest was me just. Fuck.
Well, I had fun.
I finally have money again.
Had fun dashing our dreams, our hopes of being rich men.
You're richer now than you were that day at the gambling hall. I just
I'm
want to point that out.
significantly richer
Alright.
now than I was because I went into that gambling hall with nothing. I came out with a couple of gold.
So,
I'm no longer.
you had left the
horribly
town, and before you departed, you all encountered a bunch of floating rocks.
Mm-hmm.
Shortly after that,
I remember that.
Skull befriended a cat, and you all eventually arrived at the tower you were supposed to go to. The tower was overrun with blights, and everyone except Mundi sort of fought their way through the encounter,
I just went
while
out there
Mundi
and
stayed
and just,
outside,
like, sweeping
maintaining the fire that was burning the vines being pulled out of the building. But
Me including you.
eventually things settled down. You found out that the blights were seemingly friendly, and ended up staying for the night. Now, there were 2 bedrooms in this tower. Retoris took one and Fenris took the other. Skull dug a hole out in the back by the garden.
The only natural course that.
So where did you sleep, Mundi?
On my bedroll, I guess.
Because there were 3 stories. There was the first story, which is where the 2 bedrooms were. The second story, which had more of labs and study area. And then the third story, which was pretty empty. And then there's the outside, where there's this garden with all sorts of plant life from all around the world. And just the grassland lands around you, so...
I'll just get out of bedroom and sleep out there. If I don't get a bedroom, then I don't want anything.
Okay,
So-
sleeping outside in a bedroll. During the night, you suddenly woke up, and it's very, very dark. But luckily, no, you don't have
No, I
dark
don't.
vision, so you can't see shit. But you are in a cold, damp place.
Way to take that subtle jab at me again, Jacob.
And as you're walking around, there is stonework beneath your feet. You are definitely not where you fell asleep at. What do you do?
Are there any distinguishing markings on the stonework, or is it just flat cobblestone? Or
It's
something?
pitch black. You can't tell.
I'll get down and I'll start feeling around at the stonework.
You're feeling the stonework, and it's cold to the touch, and the air around you is very damp. You can't really tell much of what's going on.
Do I have any of my equipment or anything with me?
Yes.
Fine, I'll light my lamp.
As you light your lamp and the room around you becomes aglow, you see that you are in some sort of cell. Around you there are at least 15 different cell blocks. You are currently not in one, but you are definitely in a jail of sorts. And these 15 cells align the walls, but in the center room there's this guardrail and there's a pit just beyond it. You can also see 2 doors in this room. They're both on against the same wall, but on opposite ends of where this pit is. So there's one on the left side, a path leading around the pit, and then the one on the right side.
And where the cells are lining the walls, like on either side. I'll check the door.
As you walk up towards one of the doors and you creak it open, you can hear a sound of a creature off in the distance. What kind of sound would it be? Snarling, hissing sound?
Just like Jill made.
Not really a cat sound, but...
That's a snarling, hissing sound.
That is not. That was a meow. It's a gentle creature.
Most threatening.
And as you step out into the next room, you can see way down this
I
long
didn't
hallway.
want to go through. I was just checking.
Okay,
I'm going
fine.
to check the other door now.
You go around and you check the other door. It leads into the exact same hallway, just on the other side.
If you don't get fishes margaritas, you can't drink your
How will I know it's the same?
I know, I'm concerned.
Because you can still see the creature way at the other end of the hallway holding a torch.
Could be a different creature. I'll go investigate this one.
Okay. You step out in the hall. You can see this
Because I got friends.
tall creature
No, you don't.
at the end of a hallway
Mm-hmm.
holding a torch. This creature stands at roughly 14 feet high, and its body is covered in fur and has a long worm-like tail.
Escaping!
You can't really see any other details as its back is currently to you.
How dare he be taller than me?
That's the response.
That's what I say to everyone.
You made yourself the shortest person ever.
Not ever. Just
True, but
extremely short.
you're practically dick height.
Ah, for all that sucking you do. By the way, there's
Way to
an ongoing
steal
joke.
Jill's joke. My God.
No, the ongoing joke is that Scott here is skilled at dick sucking. Duck sucking, yes. You suck ducks too. You suck duck dicks. There you go.
Oh, man.
You have two
That
hidden.
would be.
Weirdo.
Hey Scott, did you see the pictures of the ducks in my yard?
Okay, I don't like where this is going.
But anyway,
We're gonna stop it
This is
now.
a family podcast.
Mundi, what do? You saw this creature down the
Yeah,
hall.
there were ducks from the yard. See?
I know what ducks look like.
You know what ducks look like.
They're mallards.
I got ducks
We're
in my
recording
yard.
this, by the way.
But,
Oh.
Does it look hostile? Does
Yes.
it have, like, weapons drawn or something?
It's currently only holding a torch, and its back is to you. Unless you view that as threatening.
It's incredibly threatening.
Jump on his back.
I'm going to try and...
Jump on his back.
Huh? No, I was going to take my hammer and plant it down on its tail, but I mean, I guess I can...
Why?
I guess I
Whatever you
won't.
want to do.
I'll try and creep up on it.
Alright. You sneak towards this creature. So far hasn't taken notice of you. Are you doing anything once you get close enough to it?
Once I get within a decent distance of it, put out my light so that way it won't notice that there's secondary light source.
Okay.
Try and get a closer, better look at it, since see
Kinda
if there's
walk-
any more distinguishing features.
Kind of walking slowly. It's at this time you notice this hallway is insanely long. Like it goes on way longer than you thought it might have. But it just keeps stretching off into the distance. You are catching up to this creature, and it so far hasn't taken notice of you. You aren't really close enough to see its the front side of it yet.
I'll keep trying to get closer and closer to get a better look at its front. But just in case, I'll take my warhammer.
As you get closer this time, you're practically within reach of it, and suddenly it like kind of like hunches upward a bit,
Mm-hmm.
and its ears perk up, and it's
Ghost up.
you see it start sniffing around. It still hasn't quite caught onto your location yet.
So, as a actor, when I first woke up, I was in one of the cells, or I was
You
just
were
kinda-
not in the cell.
Okay,
You were
so
outside
I
of the
wasn't
cell.
a prisoner that I know of. So there's no legit reason for me to take violent action towards it. I'll just go completely still, but go into a defensive stance just in case it whips around on me.
Oh shit. Okay, no, it starts moving forward again.
I'll creep along with it, keeping a little bit of a distance now. High impact.
It's at this time, as you are both moving again, it suddenly whirls its head around in your direction and gives this loud hiss. You can now clearly see its face, the face of a rat.
All right, hammer to
Yes.
the face. So,
Before you get your hammer out, you also notice it has this like large gash across the right side of its face, and its right eye looks like it's blind in that eye, but it is definitely snarling and hissing at you, and you're hitting it.
Just have it.
You smack your warhammer against the rat,
that's an action.
And
Rats are gentle
the
creatures.
hammer impacts against its body, but it doesn't really seem like it does anything.
I want to do it to the face.
Okay, fine, you do it to the face.
The face that doesn't have the blind eye.
You hit it
His
across
other
the
eye.
face. It moves with the force of your hammer, but it just moves back towards when it looks in your direction and hisses again and reaches out to grab you.
Oh. Run.
You start to run away, and behind you, you can hear it hissing, and it sounds like it gotten out all fours and is chasing after you.
All right.
And you're heading down the hallway again. And much like before, the hallway kind of just stretches outward and seems to go on for infinity as you're running.
All right. So put my warhammer away while I'm running and pop out that light crossbow and try to take a pot shot at its eye.
When you turn around again to take a shot at the creature, it is not the same rat you saw. This time you see this 25-foot high giant rat. This one less in the shape of a humanoid and more in the shape of an actual rat. But it's huge. It's along its body there are muscle tears from just sudden rampant growth. And it opens its mouth wide as it's about to devour you.
Got still shoot at its eye.
You take a shot at its eyes as its mouth wraps around you and make a perception check. Everyone else failed this check, but you might succeed.
We're not very perceptive at all.
Yeah, this is something that's been ongoing of us not being perceptive.
It is 19.
You don't really see anything, but before the rat devours you, you have this sense that something is just standing right outside the corner of your eye. You know there's something there. But before you can look in that direction, you are devoured by the rat and enter darkness.
All right. I'm sliding down its gut. I want to start stabbing it with a dagger that I have.
Well, first you wake up.
What a pussy. Running away from the fight. After
And
it
you
started.
were once... you had fallen asleep outside?
Yeah.
Okay. Crap it. You wake up, you were actually deep within the garden at the moment and surrounded by the foliage, and you were definitely not where you fell asleep at.
I got the better of that rat. That's the story I'm going to tell.
You sure did.
It had to run away, so.
So then after this pleasant night, you caught up with everyone else who seemed to have had some similar dream, although Skull only talked about hands. And the group proceeded to spend the next few days at the tower. Skull seemed to have picked up a habit of working on little pieces of metal. Fenris spent quite a bit of time studying plant life, and Retoris spent the most time identifying his items, as well as attempting to solve a puzzle within a tower. And then there was you. Was there any particular activity you might have done during these few days?
Study up on architecture of the tower.
Okay. You would have
It's a pit of
spent the 2 days looking around the tower, trying to see if you learned anything new. Go ahead and just roll an investigation to see if maybe you picked up on something that no one else knew at the time.
Wait a minute, this tower has 5 windows, not 6.
Oh my god, this tower sucks.
Why do we keep finding towers? Wait, what was I rolling?
Investigation.
Oh, okay.
See if you found something the group was unaware of at the moment.
17.
You found some sort of a symbol etched in the walls by the front door. You're not sure what they mean, but at a later time you can ask one of the needle blights and perhaps they'll know.
Don't really want to mess with it this time, because last time I did, everybody got mad at me because it made the hands come out.
But yes, during your stay at the tower, you learned that there are several twig blights and currently 2 living needle blights. You also know that Retoris had slain a twig blight, but another one that was already buried out in the back came back to life at one point and was reunited with everyone else.
It's a miracle.
During the encounter... You okay, Joe? I'm trying to speed things up.
It's okay.
During the time at Tari, you learned that they ended up burying 3 other bodies. 1 twig blight, 1 needle blight, and 1 vine blight. The vine blight being the one that was controlling all of the other blights, forcing them to attack.
What a douche.
And on the 3rd day, everyone was going to head back to Iapo because Skoll had prior arrangements with a blacksmith in town to see if they could get any ingots from some of the metal.
I remember that. So
But before they went to town, Fenris had a unusual encounter in the forest involving some creature called a cyclops. Whatever that was about.
oh, they're lovely guys.
So, but before, you didn't just go to town. The group had learned about this door on the outside of the tower, which they were able to use to somewhat teleport them a little closer to town.
Before we do that, I want to do a rubbing of that symbol that you said was by the door.
Okay.
So I can actually go, when we're in town, use that as a reference point rather than me trying to just remember it. I can actually use it as a reference point to try and see if they have any information.
Okay. But
Capede.
all right, Rob wrote down the symbol. They used the door. They got themselves halfway towards the town as the door manifested on one of the rocks. That was about 2 hours away. And upon entering town, Skoll met up with the blacksmith Anastriana. Retoris went with him. Fenris stopped by Marvin again to try and gain some information. The only useful thing he left with was to possibly visit a scryer to the north. See if they could locate Bashir that way. As Fenris was trying to meet up with the rest of the group, he had gotten pickpocketed. Very unfortunate, and almost lost his most prized possession. But he did lose something, which led the group to attempt to track down the thief. But first they ran into an NPC who vaguely matched the only description they had of the thief, and came to an agreement that this person would help them try and get Fenris's pendant back in exchange that the group would help her explore a cave to the northeast. They found a thief, but not the thief, and he is currently hospitalized with a severe leg injury because Fenris critted on his leg with an arrow. So that happened.
Take, I know what you've done.
And the group decided to spend the night, most of the group spent the night in town because it was pretty late in the day by the time they found the second thief. Skoll went back to the tower, and the next day, on their way to walk around town gathering information about the thief, a knife they had, and they had run into the actual thief, who was bargaining with Fenris to, in exchange for his pendant back, he wanted something from the forest nearby. And while that was happening, the rest of the group was fighting the fox's second hand, or right hand character,
The right-hand rabbit.
the rabbit, who stood at an unusual
We
height.
almost fucking
of-
killed.
We almost murdered that ass.
It was very
Wait,
close.
is it a legitimate
That was a big
rabbit,
bitch.
or
It
is
is
it
a
person
seven
like
seven foot
person
7
with
inches
mask.
tall humanoid figure wearing a
It
rabbit's
was a
mask.
big
okay.
bitch. We also determined that certain races have certain blood colors. Just so you know.
We've only determined 3 at the moment,
No,
but
yeah,
yes.
only 3 at the moment. But we
So,
they do have.
doing that, they knew that the
Yeah,
rabbit
so
was
let's find out.
of elven descent.
That's a beat.
Plus, why would you do that?
And where we last left off, the group, most of the group leaned towards not wanting to go to the forest immediately anyways, especially since Skoll verbally proclaimed that he did not want to negotiate with terrorists.
That's a
So
good
the
stance
group-
to take, this time.
We last left the group splitting up because Skoll stayed with Thola at the main gate to the north, while Fenris and Retoris were going back to the tower through the portal that Skull made, which manifested at the blacksmith this time. So that's where we left off. So Mundi, you were at the tower. We'll just say you're at the tower because you're not here. And Fenris and Artoris suddenly show up.
I'm guessing that we're gonna have like Fenris. Fenris? You're Fenris.
He's Fenris.
Retoris
That is
the one I'm
Retoris.
thinking. Retoris is just gonna find something. He's gonna be at the tower for the time being.
Yeah.
I mean, if he wants.
I mean,
What up, Mundi?
I technically have a stat. I could have him.
We're about to go to this cave to help this lady named Thola that we met in town. You want to come with?
She requires assistance? No, I'm in.
Yeah, apparently it's got like some kobolds or some shit in it. Anyway, she was helping me out with a issue I was having, so I agreed to help her out if you want to come along.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, hell yeah.
Oh, no, I'm gonna be borderline switching alignments at this rate because I fucking hate kobolds, man.
By the way,
Kobolds were my first character.
I don't know if you knew about this door over here, but it's real handy.
We'll say
Convenient.
in
It's extremely
the 2 days
convenient.
you spent at the tower, you would have become acquainted with the basics of this door that they found. Basically, whenever the doors close and you think a thought, it can manifest
You
a
think
room.
thoughts?
What?
I don't think thoughts.
Manifest your thoughts of the room beyond. So if you
I
if you think the room contains a
I want to be in the
tinkerer's-
room where it happened.
What? Basically, if you
Hamilton
think the room contains like a, at first Fenris thought it was a garden shed. So when he opened the door the first time, it had garden supplies. When Skull first opened it, he thought it was just a storage cellar. So when he opened it, it had stairs and it led down to a cellar containing various random junk.
I'm thinking of it being a door to a vault full of gold with nothing hostile in it.
It's already.
You can attempt that at a later date, but the door currently has its location unless you want to reset that.
No.
Which you can do.
No.
Come with us to the damn cave. This door leads to town right now.
Which you know is about a 4-hour walk away.
I'll go with them to the cave. I want to kill kobolds.
Okay. Now, at this point, should Retoris say... we'll say, if Ben shows up, he went with you. If Ben doesn't show up, he stayed.
Well, I mean, worst comes to worst, we could just say he had to accomplish something at the tower, and he'd follow us whenever he finished that task. And,
No, worst comes to worst, he fell asleep in the wagon.
Yeah.
That would actually work out better. That way he's close by if he shows up and needs to join you. So Retoris will be joining you on this journey.
Okay.
While they're at the tower, Skull, you are currently at the north gate with Thola. The two of you have just been standing around for a while now. She's kind of tapping her fingers together as she's waiting for the rest of the group to show back up.
Cold?
You have to go up one level.
Eating a bunch of ice cream.
Where's the book?
Yeah, he just sits quietly, kind of awkwardly stands off to the side, doesn't try to make eye contact with her at all.
I figured somebody that would happen.
Yeah.
Let's see how much time passes before she asks
More
a
than I thought.
question.
Oh.
Thank you.
Yeah, it would have taken them
I would offer you, but I know
Smart
you don't like
man.
them. So.
Smart man.
roughly 40 minutes after they had
Sorry.
roughly 40 minutes after they had left. She eventually decides to ask this. So, Skull, is it? That's right. That's your name.
He just kind of like stiffens up and crinkles in a little bit and kind of starts like inching away from her.
She just. Okay, I think that's what they called you at least. So, what brought you to Iapo? You don't seem from around
He
here.
breaks out in a sweat.
I'm sorry to have bothered you. And she kind of clams up, not wanting to.
He scoots
Noticing
further away.
that you are not comfortable at the moment, so she just kind of goes quiet, and the rest of your time together is a bit stiff.
Awkward silence.
The best kind of silence.
Another hour passes, and you see Fenris.
I would
Taurus.
say after the first hour, like, and he scooted further enough away from her, he would just probably, like, dabble in his own junk, like, work on a blueprint, whatever he does in his free time.
Alright, you can go ahead and make a check to see if you make any progress on your blueprint.
Anything happens? Which blueprint was I working on?
You were working on a pit fiend.
That's right.
Wait, blueprint for a pit? What?
She
Careful.
We'll get to that.
What was I rolling for those again?
Our knowledge arcana.
Arcana is 21. 21.
You make 2 turns of progress.
Woo!
And eventually you see Fenris, Retoris, and Mundi return from the center of town as they most likely took the portal.
Oh.
So, the group is all united. Now,
Gang's all here.
Now, before you head off, Thola once again shows you the map that she had to the location, and even on a horse-drawn carriage, it would probably take 2 days' travel. Now, you could either take a direct route there, or what she is suggesting is just follow the path north and then break off east once you're far enough north for a smoother ride. But ultimately, it is up to you guys on how you want to get there.
We can't use it, sorry.
You should be.
Can't use instant transmission door?
You can,
Well,
but it seems the group had this mindset of not letting too many people aware of the town.
Makes sense.
Except for Anna, she's the best.
So, it's up to you guys now to debate on
I
what
like
we're going
her
to
too.
do.
She's a pretty good sniper.
I'm going to get a drink.
Are you though?
So the most direct route is to go north and then
All
break
the
off,
cups in the thingy are clean.
If we go straight there, there's like orcs and shit in the way, correct?
No, you're not heading through the forest.
Okay, right. This is through the grasslands and stuff, isn't it?
I say them out. Like, unless, like, there's odds of us running into some really heavy shit and stuff, the direct path is the best path to take, because if it's kobolds, we don't want to exhaust too much of our supplies too quickly. And if we get into too many fights before that, then there's a higher chance that we won't have.
Yeah.
And also, I mean, we have to take into consideration we don't know how many days. If we're going through and we're going to have to fight kobolds, that means that we're probably going to have to clear the cave of the kobolds. We don't know how many days that'll take. If it's a couple days to get there, then it's going to be a couple days for us to get back. So we have to take into account how much food it's going to take, as well as additional provision.
Because your time at the tower, you didn't have to worry about food so much because there seemed to be plenty of fruits, vegetables in the garden itself, along with several other different plants you haven't had a chance to study.
Play that dangerous game, don't you?
I guess we should just go the way that she wants to. That would take us 2 days. At least the way there.
So, this entire time, like, I want Skull to have been studying her. Is there any way that I can do a sense motive to see how sincere she is towards us? And
You
her
can do an
motives?
insight.
Insight? Oh, that's right. They combined shit, didn't they?
Expedite.
12. Insight. Oh no. I'm not a wise boy. 13.
So, what specifically were you trying to get?
Just basically, I was trying to find if she was sincere in like her motives towards us. Like, was she trying to lead us astray in any way, or was she just being upfront and truthful?
You get the sense that she seems honest. In fact, even at one point, she goes into her carriage while everyone's discussing amongst themselves. And she walks out with 4 potions with a red liquid and asks, does everyone have a healing potion? I do have a few extras.
Well, I actually would need to do one. I used mine back at the first tower that I was actually at.
And this concern especially seems to come up, especially since Retoris took quite a blow in your last encounter. and she had to use the one that she was carrying on her.
But yeah,
So-
I need one.
Poor Taurus.
She hands you one. It's got a
But
red
she
liquid, and
didn't
she's
give you-
informed you that it is a potion of healing. Did anyone else need one? If not, I'll have these other 3 in my bag, so that way we at least have them.
I think I'm good.
Skull.
He shakes his head quickly and like tries to not be the center of her attention whatsoever.
When you said shake your head, like a no shake or a
Yeah,
yes shake?
no shake.
Okay.
I say the difference. Shaking is no, and nodding is yes.
All right. Oh. But she just nods her head and just shuffles the other 3 into her bag, which Fenris and Skull, you did note at one point she pulled a greatsword out of. So there's that. So, what was the group's plan? Going straight path or
Oh, do you need dice? Here, I got it. Hold on. There you go. Wait, that one. I'm going to grab it.
Good luck rolling high numbers.
Oh no!
Oh yeah.
All heals for them.
So are you going to head straight north or do a straight
Use a chair,
line?
Another table if you like.
We'll follow the path that she wants to do.
Alright. And as you're all getting ready to head off, I guess there's 4 of you, right? Yes, there's 4 of you. Can go into her carriage now. It seems like a decently sized carriage. Like it could probably sit 4 people inside of it once you're in it. And as you open the back door into the carriage, it seems to be. It's got all kinds of things
I
in it.
stuff her Taurus in the trunk.
There, unfortunately, is not a trunk.
There's a trunk.
I guess you could tie him to the roof.
Is there a
He's
strong
tied
box?
somewhere.
Shove him in the strong box.
But as you enter this, normally you would expect the carriage to have like maybe 2 benches, one on each side. But it seems on one side it's occupied by a bed, and there's all kinds of things spread out on the back half.
Mm-hmm.
You can see like kitchen utensils, extra sets of clothes, and all sorts of other random things that she may have collected or brought with her on her journey. But the bench on the right side is, for the most part, empty. So ideally, 2 or 3 of you could sit on that side. Someone could sit on the bed, and I guess if you really wanted to tie your Taurus somewhere, you could do that. Where are you tying him up at?
On the wheels.
So, like, there's no, like, what kind of carriage are we talking here? Like, could you at all show me a picture?
I did not have a picture of it.
We talking, like, princess carriage? Like, we talking, like, caravan carriage?
Old West wagon carriage.
These are very different types of carriages, so it really would depend on where I'm even capable of putting it.
Then let me just try and look up a picture. Basically, it's got 4 wheels, 4 sides. So there's really only the window to the front, looking out to where the horse is.
A weird place for a window for a carriage. I mean, it's whatever.
Doesn't really have any windows on the side. Well,
That's where that's going to end.
actually, it probably would have one on the side, but it's like currently has a cloth over the windows.
Just show me what you're
I'm
talking about.
Just
You're not
making it up as I
describing-
go.
You're very confusing! Okay.
One of them, so.
Going with this carriage because it's the only one I could think of.
Cool.
The
So,
one-
fun fact, those do have trunks.
Okay, then yes, there would
It's
be.
just like a little compartment on the back of it.
Okay, so instead of the door being in the back, it's now on the side because now I have a picture to go off of. So Taurus is in the trunk.
$500 too.
And you all start heading north. We can watch it now. Excited people.
It's a
People having a
drinking
good
game.
time on a
It's a
carriage.
drinking game?
Yeah, they're taking shots after they go and then they go back. It's a,
Oh
drink-
my
it's a
god!
drinking relay.
That sounds terrible.
Sounds hilarious.
So, let's see what happens during your first day.
We're gonna forget fucking Ben in the fucking...
In the trunk.
Yeah.
He's going to come
You
in
know,
and
like,
be
it's like all you see is black. What? Have I gone blind?
Death consumes you. Nobody fed you for a couple days.
He's hibernating, that's all.
You get thirsty and that high.
So as you're heading along the path, and about 4 hours later, you do end up coming. Well, first you pass the rocks, and then you pass the tower about the 4-hour mark, and you just kind
Oh
of.
wow, nice tower. Wonder who lives there.
Well, speaking of which, does anyone want to sit in the front with Thol? You don't have to be in the carriage. There is a spot next
I'll
to
sit up there with her.
Okay, Fenris is sitting up there.
I was gonna say, is like, you don't want to do this.
What?
Have me sit up there.
Oh no. You're awkward as
So
Yeah, right.
you point out how it's a nice tower. She's like, yes, and then at the moment you can see some of the twig blights running around. Interesting creatures seem to occupy it.
I wave at her.
They all wave back at you. A very friendly wave. A very we know who you are wave.
They seem nice.
Yes, they do. And several more hours pass, and you do see some boars just out in the field eating something. It's hard to tell. The grass is tall enough.
Oh, rations.
Well, basically, it's whatever you had starting. So you traveled 7 days to get to the town. And if that consumed all your rations, we'll have you make a roll to see how many you collected at the tower.
I wouldn't have consumed all of them, but it would have got me pretty low. No, I'm doing fine.
Well, we'll say since you spent some time at the tower, everyone gets basically 4 rations worth because of all the fruits and vegetables that you could have collected for food.
Like this, but with less windows?
Yes.
Cool. I won't try to kill these boar then.
Now, Skull and Mundi, are you doing anything while sitting in the carriage during this several-hour journey?
How high is the ceiling of the carriage?
When you stand up, you are just like an inch from hitting the ceiling.
Oh,
so
this
it's
what you're
really high
talking
ceiling.
about.
So.
Like where the doors in the back. Were you thinking something else?
I initially had thought of the door being in the back. So that would
That's
probably
more of
be
a caravan wagon than it is a carriage.
Okay, then I had the wrong word.
Yeah, it's fine. If that's what you mean. That
Yes.
has more room. It makes more sense.
Caravan wagon, and it would actually supply the room for all the things she has in there.
Yep.
So,
That would be the thing.
wrong word, but
It's
whatever.
all right. We got that moment of clarity.
So,
Why are you taking apart my fence?
if the two of you were wanting to do anything during your time in the carriage, whether you just wanted to talk amongst each other, maybe try and work on something, or if you were really a kleptomaniac and just want to go through
I'm gonna
through
sniff
stuff.
through all our stuff.
It's been a few sessions since you smelled something, so I was
Yup.
wondering.
It has been. Wow.
It's also been a few sessions since you opened your journal.
It has been.
You
Wow.
still got that thing?
Oh, fuck yeah. It hasn't gotten stolen
You
yet.
sure? I'm gonna.
Well, I missed it completely. I'm getting close to you right now. So,
No.
Since you're smelling, what was your perception?
Like 10. Perception. 10. 13. Not good. Oh well.
Well, you're not finding anything magical, but you do end up finding a barrel of flour, a barrel of salt, some sugar, some wine.
Hey, drink it.
She drinks some elven wine.
Uh oh.
ooh, fine.
Okay, con saving throw.
Yay! 14 plus my con.
Taking that aroma. flavor.
18.
It's been aged
This
well.
is a strong alcohol, but you are able to.
I don't know. It was like there was that stuff at that little farmhouse that fucked me up. They gave me a drink and it wrecked me shit.
Oh, when you were at the outpost.
Yeah.
Right, Rhetor's turned your drink alcoholic.
Yeah.
So let's actually do this at disadvantage since you.
No.
Yeah, just go and open your.
And you rolled the same
exact
fucking-
thing.
Apparently, you have a taste for elven
I
wine.
have a thing. It's good.
This is that good shit.
You really are taking after your father.
Ah!
You're falling for an elf. You're apparently accustomed to their alcohol.
Oh, you're falling for it now?
No. Oh yeah, Anna. Fuck yeah, Anna.
Oh, okay. I thought I was just
I
like,
forgot
man, you're
about
really
Anna.
into upping this one person you're talking about. But
No,
okay.
for some reason or another, like for some reason though, I have it where he clicked like instantly with Anna,
Just took a shot. So.
and it's like so nice because now we have a partnership. We're gonna start a business together.
You also, using your nose, you find a rosemary scented perfume vial.
Uh-huh.
Ooh.
But
I
Mundi,
spray Retoris.
he's in the trunk at the moment. You'd have to get out.
Actually,
There's a key.
he's not in the trunk anymore because we changed the type of carriage.
Ah, yeah. Okay.
Spray the shit out of him.
Right in his eyes.
Build up that tolerance to stuff
I
getting.
guess this is what you get for not showing up, Ben. You did blasting the shit.
He's now blinded, and that's why he can't journey with us. into the
Retoris
cave.
now smells
Use
of
the dummy
rosemary.
post for like whenever we're testing out our weapons, make sure that they're in a good enough quality.
The best
Shows
part
up,
is we
he's
can
at
no
2
longer
health.
give you shit for putting a fucking window in the front of it because there are windows in the front of these.
Oh. You did it, Jacob.
But yeah, several more hours end up going by, and
Oh.
for the sake of introducing the new character, you find it seems like several humanoid figures, and they have a wagon of their own, but they seem to be surrounding something,
I say we
staring down at a tiefling man.
Yeah.
And so, Finrose, you were actually the first to notice this since you were actually outside.
What color is he?
Brick red.
Aw,
I'm
boring.
sorry. I'm going for the
Well, at least we have 3 different tieflings in the campaign with 3 different colors.
Oh my god. You can still have your romance. The child is purple.
that child is that's wind-powered child.
Stop pushing this, Jill. He already wants to steal the girl.
Well, it makes more sense now. It's like he's stealing his own child back and he has to find his,
I gotta be a good character, though.
Everything.
I gotta work on that.
Everything's acceptable in love.
Exactly.
All's fair in love and war. Jeez, I mean.
All right, so they're surrounding the tiefling. Do they look hostile towards them?
As long as you say you love the person, you can cut somebody's throat, and it's okay.
I don't think
There are currently
There was recently that story about that lady stabbing her boyfriend.
there are currently
while they
4
were
humanoid
doing it.
figures. They 2 of them have a weapon drawn. One is at his neck. So maybe they're hostile.
Probably hostile.
Or
They're
maybe
just
he's
worried that he's got a demon in him.
maybe he's incredibly in debt. They just want their money back. You don't know.
It's true, I don't.
I don't want to meddle in people's affairs. I say we should just keep going.
I lean over to Thol and I'm like, just keep going.
But that man
That's
looks like
the
he's in
frugal
trouble.
way.
Shouldn't we at least help him?
Yeah, we should.
Well, that's only the
I would
thought
say-
process of somebody who's like holier than thou, like me, but I don't see it.
I yell out and I'm like, what seems to be the problem?
As she does, she brings her horse to a halt. And
Fellow travelers.
none your business. Be on your way,
You can
Fucking race are these people?
Oh,
human.
Oh.
kind people. I'm belayed. I just like slowly turn my hand and belayed, tapping a duke's ring on my finger. By these brigands, if you would mind some assistance.
Now, at this time, go ahead and describe your character to the party.
The tiefling is finely dressed for his station. His horns are of medium length, slightly curved back, ordained with a few gold bracelets, basically bangles on them, or at least they look gold. He's about medium height.
How high? How tall specifically? Because we've got a variation of heights.
Oh, okay. That's the normal one, 6 feet.
Ah!
For example, we have Mundi, who's currently in the carriage. You can't see him. He's 8 feet tall.
Oh!
We have Skull, who is 6'8". A Taurus, who is 6'6". And then we have Small Fry, who is 4'10" with 1 foot long horns.
Oh, thank God. I'm not the shortest one in the group anymore.
And then you also see a cloaked figure sitting on the front, holding the reins of the horse, and she would stand at 5'6".
Alright.
So, for the purpose of your story, what is your background?
The background I picked was charlatan.
So, not noble.
So not a noble. No.
So you're pointing to this group of strangers, and
So you're
And I
fucking
just
lying.
look like a noble.
you look
You're
like one,
fucking
but you're
lying.
lying. So go ahead and make a deception check.
Alright. Deception.
And
6.
Finrose, you can make a insight to see if his words hold truth.
Wait, it's still D20, right?
Yes.
Okay.
You're gonna add your insight to it.
Deception to it.
So, yeah, I got a 15. You?
17.
Oh.